This FAQ video relating to professional ethics of members pertaining to bank assignments has been brought to you by Ethical Standard Board of ICAI. Beginning with FAQ 1, whether a firm of chartered accountants can accept audit of a branch of a bank while one of the partners of the said firm has taken a loan from a different branch of the bank, the answer is no. The firm of chartered accountants cannot accept a branch audit of a bank if one of the partners has taken the loan from any branch of that bank. The members should not place themselves in a position which would either compromise or jeopardize their independence. FAQ 2 asks that whether a member can accept appointment as a statutory auditor of certain branches of a bank while he is the revenue auditor of different branches of the same bank. The answer is no. A member is not permitted to accept the appointment as a statutory auditor of certain branches of bank while he is the revenue auditor of a different branch of the same bank. Moving on to the third FAQ, whether a member being the concurrent auditor of a bank can undertake quarterly limited review of the same bank. The answer is that the concurrent audit and the assignment of quarterly limited review of the same bank cannot be undertaken simultaneously, as the concurrent audit being an internal audit and quarterly limited review being a kind of statutory audit undertaken simultaneously are prohibited under the provisions of the Code of Ethics. It may, however, be noted that the concurrent auditor of a branch of a bank may be required to submit a specific review report to the management on quarterly basis. Such assignment of specific review may be undertaken by the concurrent auditor of the bank. The FAQ 4 asks that whether it is permissible to accept concurrent audit of a bank branch by the statutory auditor of different branches of the same bank. The answer is that in line with the principle of strict independence, it is not permissible to accept the concurrent audit of one of the branches of the bank by the statutory auditor of different branches of the same bank. Now, moving on to FAQ number 5, it asks that whether the internal auditor of a bank can undertake consultancy work of the same bank. The answer is that there is no restriction for the consultancy work if it is undertaken by a member along with the assignment of the internal audit. FAQ number 6. Whether the statutory auditor of a bank can undertake the concurrent audit of its sponsor bank. The answer is no. The statutory auditor of a bank cannot be the concurrent auditor of its sponsor bank, since the relationship between them may be linked to holding and subsidiary companies under the Companies Act 2013. FAQ 7. Whether the statutory auditor of a bank can accept stock audit or inspection audit of the same branch or different branch of the same bank. The answer is that the stock audit, inspection audit, and statutory audit are not permissible to be done simultaneously, since stock audit or inspection audit are the kind of management function which cannot be undertaken simultaneously along with the statutory audit, whether pertaining to the same branch or different branch. Moving on to FAQ number 8, whether the concurrent auditor of a bank can accept the tax audit of the same bank. The answer is no. The concurrent auditor of a bank cannot accept the tax audit assignment of the same bank, as it would affect the independence in terms of the provisions of the Code of Ethics that the statutory audit and the internal audit cannot be done together, as also in terms of the provisions of Section 288 of Income Tax Act 1961, which prohibits undertaking concurrent audit and tax audit simultaneously. FAQ 9. Whether the concurrent auditor of a bank can accept the revenue audit of the same bank. The answer is yes. The concurrent auditor of a bank can accept the revenue audit of the same bank, since both the audits are of the nature of management function. FAQ 10. Whether a member can simultaneously be the information systems auditor and the credit appraiser for the same bank. A member can simultaneously be the information system auditor and credit appraiser of the same bank, except in case where the appointment as information systems auditor has been made under statutory or regulatory requirement. However, he should ensure at his end that there is no conflict of interest involved. Moving on to FAQ number 11. It asks that whether the auditor of a bank can hold credit card of the same bank. The answer is that there is no prohibition in holding the credit card of a bank where a CA firm is the auditor of the bank. Indebtedness will apply if there is an outstanding balance of Rs 1 lakh beyond the prescribed credit period limit on the credit card given to the holder of the credit card. Moving on to FAQ number 12. Whether the concurrent auditor of a bank can accept the assignment of its statutory audit after relinquishing the assignment of the concurrent audit of a bank. The answer is yes. The concurrent auditor of a bank can choose to relinquish the concurrent audit and accept the assignment of statutory audit. He can, of course, also choose to continue with the concurrent audit assignment without accepting the statutory audit. Provided where the concurrent audit assignment for the relevant year has already been commenced at the time of acceptance of statutory audit, the statutory audit for the said year should not be accepted. Let's move to FAQ 13, which is whether the concurrent auditor of a branch of a bank can undertake the assignment of LFAR of the same branch. The answer is the concurrent auditor of a branch can undertake the assignment of LFAR only with respect to branches which are not subject to statutory audit. With respect to branches which are subject to statutory audit, the LFAR assignment shall be undertaken by the statutory auditor. The 14th FAQ is whether a member in practice can accept statutory audit of a bank in case if he has taken loan from the bank against fixed deposit. The answer is no. Indebtedness would include any sort of loan taken by a member against fixed deposit or any other kind of deposit. Thus, a member is not permitted to accept the audit assignment of a bank in case he has taken a loan against fixed deposit held by him at that bank. The 15th FAQ asks whether a current assets auditor for borrower accounts of a bank can also be the statutory auditor of a branch of the same bank. The answer is that there is no conflict of interest where the current assets auditor of borrower accounts of a branch of a bank is a statutory auditor of another branch of the bank. Moving on to the 16th FAQ, that whether the issue of independence of auditor is linked with the performance certificate of branch auditors required from the branch managers of a bank. The answer is that the performance certificate appears to be something of an internal use of bank and also apparent that the said report is confidential. There is nothing to be done by the auditor or ICAI in this regard. Since it is something in the domain of client only, no independence issue is involved. The 17th FAQ is whether the incoming auditor of an entity can communicate with the retiring auditor via the email. Yes, the incoming auditor of an entity can communicate with the retiring auditor via email. However, the positive proof of delivery to the previous auditor will be reckoned on the receipt of acknowledgement of communication from the retiring auditor's wide email address registered with the institute or the last known official email address. The FAQ 18 asks whether the communication with the previous auditor is necessary in case of appointment as statutory auditor by Nationalized or other banks. Yes, the communication with previous auditor is equally applicable in case of appointments made by Nationalized and other banks. Now, moving on to the 19th FAQ, whether the communication by the incoming auditor is mandatory with the previous auditor in respect of various audit assignments like the concurrent audit, revenue audit, stock audit, and special audits. The answer is yes. The requirement for communicating with the previous auditor would apply to all sorts of audit, viz. Statutory audit, tax audit, concurrent audit, stock audit, or any other kind of audit. FAQ 20. Whether the auditor of a bank can commence audit immediately after communicating with the previous auditor and without waiting for a reasonable time. The answer is that in case of audit of government companies, banks, or their branches, the time schedule given for such assignment is such that there is no time to wait for the reply from the outgoing auditor. The incoming auditor may give a conditional acceptance of appointment and commence the work which needs to be attended to immediately after he has sent the communication to the previous auditor in accordance with this clause. In the acceptance letter, he should make clear to the client that his acceptance of appointment is subject to professional objections, if any, from the previous auditor, and that he will decide about his final acceptance after taking into account the information received from the previous auditor. Finally, FAQ 21 asks that whether a member in practice can be a director in cooperative bank. The answer is yes. A member in practice may be a director simpliciter in a cooperative bank, provided he is not in charge of the executive functions. He or the chartered accountancy firm wherein he is the partner or any partner of the said firm are not interested in the bank as an auditor. With this, we come to an end to our presentation. Thank you.